Hello, this is Christopher Reed's Nutrition Facts. And today, we're going to read the Totinos 3 air quotation marks cheese party pizza, naturally flavored. Okay, it's delicious. First off, I'm going to just flat out say it. I love these things. The Totinos pizza, they're great. They're excellent. They're delicious. I love eating them. They are quite good, but all I'm going to do here today is just read the actual nutrition facts of what's in these things. And, let you be the judge. And I will also say that I don't eat many of these at all. Maybe 1 or 2 a month. Used to in my younger days because they were much more cost effective. Probably ate quite a few more. Probably a few. I ate a bunch. Okay, I've eaten a bunch of these in my lifetime. But as of late, I haven't eaten a whole bunch. But I'm just going to go ahead and read the nutrition facts. So here we go. Nutrition facts. Serving size, 1/2 pizza, 138 grams. Servings per container, 2. So that means that everything that I'm about to read to you is assuming that you've only eaten half of this pizza. You tell me when was the last time you ate just half a Totino's party pizza. But so all these numbers, half, if you have only eaten half. Total fat. 14 grams. This is all the daily value, by the way, the percentage, which I'm guessing, it's obviously an average. It's may or may not apply directly to you. I'm going to say that it does pretty much apply to me. It's an excellent guideline because I am, for lack of a better term, in that aspect, average 5'10", 175, 180, and these seem to be the levels that I need to be looking at. So, obviously, if you are maybe smaller, less active, or whatever, or larger and more active, or vice versa, adjust the numbers for you. But these are good middle of the road kind of guidelines. So, if you want to look at a starting point, these are the starting points. So, to subtract or add. So, I already did total fat. So, daily value. So, the total fat, 14 grams, 22%. So, the saturated fat is 4 grams, 19%. Yeah, I'm just going to read everything that's in, like, the dark, bold letters. Boldly. Because I can. Trans fat, 0 grams. That means there are 0 trans fat in this Totinos pizza. So, I think that's good, right? I think. Okay. Cholesterol, 0 milligrams. That's 0%. So that's 0 trans fat and 0 cholesterol. I know there's good cholesterol, but you don't have to worry about the bad cholesterol in this one because there is no cholesterol apparently in this particular pizza. Sodium, 550 milligrams. So it's a little more than half a gram worth of salt in half of this pizza at 23%. So I'm going to round up a little bit and just say if you eat the entire pizza, you're getting half your daily value of salt. That's what's happening if you eat just the whole thing. Which, is fine in and of itself. Just if you do eat a lot of salt, make sure you drink a lot of water too. Just keep that balance. Just don't just eat salt. I mean, you can just go crazy with salt, just as long as you drink a decent amount of water along with it. But don't go completely nuts with that. That would be silly. Total carbohydrate, 36 grams, 12%. So that's 12% of your daily allowance if you eat half this thing of carbohydrates. I'm not sure what that means. I don't know if it's good. I don't know if it's bad. Dietary fiber, 2 grams. The stuff that makes you go poop. 9%. So fiber helps move things along. So that's always good to have that. So maybe not too much. Probably don't want too much. I think 9% is probably a good amount. I'm comfortable with that amount, as a matter of fact. Sugars, 4 grams. But here's the thing. There's no daily allowance here. It doesn't say anything about a daily allowance. It just says sugars, 4 grams. So that's a little suspicious to me, because it's like, why do you just not know how much sugar a person should have in their body? Because sugar's great, right? I mean, everybody loves sugar. It's delicious. It's tasty. It's wonderful. It's just amazing, right? It just makes so many things so much better than they could ever hope to be, all on their own. And we all love it, right? But they don't know. They don't want to tell us. But I think I know why, and this is horrible. It's horrible, and I hate to break this news. This is complete supposition. I'm utterly, I have no proof of this whatsoever. But what if? What if? The reason they don't want to tell us what the percentage is for the sugars is because someone knows or found out that sugar is like the catalyst for death. Like, if you never have sugar ever in your entire life, from the time you're born, you're immortal, right? So as soon as you have sugar, though, boom, that's it. Like, you start breaking down. Like, how messed up would that be? How utterly messed up would that be? Who would you be mad at? Would you be mad at me? Would you be mad at me if that came true? Or would you be mad at your parents? Because, I mean, there's nothing you could do. There's absolutely nothing you could do. You've already had sugar. Every last one of you. Everyone has had sugar. Oh, well. Moving on. That's all you can do. Just moving on. Protein. 10 grams. And this one doesn't have a percentage either, but I'm not going to go into speculation as to why on that one. Protein's good for you. You do need that for, like, muscle. Your muscles are made of protein, and it helps your brain to do things better. Helps do brain good. Okay, now we're going to go into the vitamins, or the vitamins. Vitamin A, 8%. Vitamin C, 0%. Big old goose egg. Calcium, 15%. I would hope so. There's a lot of cheese in here, right? I was doing the air quotation marks. Iron, 10%. I know you need iron for blood reasons. I was anemic as a child, and they're like, hey, you're iron low. You need stuff with iron in it. I was like, okay. Cool. So the iron's actually a metal you need in your body. I always thought that was pretty cool. Now, here's a little asterisk here. It says percent daily values are based on a 2,000 calorie diet. Your daily values may be higher or lower depending on your calorie needs. Kind of a little bit of what I said earlier. So here it's saying if you need to consume 2,000 calories a day versus if you need to consume about 2,500 calories a day. So the middle of the road is on the 2,000 calorie side of it. And it's telling us that your daily allowance of total fat, if you consume 2,000 calories a day, should be less than 60 grams. I'm just going to say the first number, and then the second number is going to be the 2,500 side of it. Okay, so the first one's going to be 2,000 calories, and the second one's going to be 2,500 calories. So total fat less than 65 grams, 80 grams. Saturated fat less than 20 grams, 25 grams. Cholesterol, less than 300 milligrams, 300 milligrams. So that's exactly the same. Sodium, less than 2,400 milligrams, 2,400 milligrams, also the same. So these two are completely identical, so it doesn't seem if you need to consume 2,000 or 2,500 calories. It doesn't matter. Just that's about how much salt and or cholesterol you should probably be ingesting. So total carbohydrates, 300 grams, and then 375 grams. So obviously, if you need more calories, you're going to need some more carbohydrates. Dietary fiber, 25 grams, 30 grams. That's the stuff that makes you go poop. So you want to make sure you're pooping. That's serious. I mean, I know it's fun to talk about. It's funny, but if you haven't pooped in like 3 or 4 days, you might want to tell somebody. I'm just saying, you should be pooping. That's a good thing to be doing. You got to get all that stuff out. We just say poop. Poop. I just wanted to put that one in there. Okay, so now we're getting into the actual ingredients part. What the ingredients are for this. Now it's broken into several different categories. The first one's going to be for like the crust. The second one's going to be for the sauce, and the next three are for. Well, the next three are going to be for the cheese. Air quotation mark. And the last part is going to be where it's like it says contains less than 2% of. So that means that basically all these things that we're going to tell you about, either don't worry about it because there's so little of it, or none of it because 0% is also less than 2%, if I remember my math correctly. Okay, so I'll just start with the crust. Ingredients. Enriched flour. And that contains wheat flour, niacin, ferrous sulfate, I don't know what any of this stuff is, thiamine mononitrate, neither do I know what that is, that one sounds kind of creepy, riboflavin, I mean, it might be perfectly fine for you, but I'm just saying, I don't know what that is. Riboflavin I've heard of. Folic acid. I bet you it has something to do, I don't know, does it have anything to do with your hair? Like hair follicles? I'm just reading this, people. I'm just reading it. Okay, now the next thing, that was all for the crust. That's what makes up the crust. Okay, so for the next thing, it's for the it's for the sauce, but they're being honest here. They're saying it's not. So they never use the word sauce at all. What they say, they call it the water tomato puree, which contains water and tomato paste. Now, before I continue, I do want to point out that the one thing I do know about ingredients lists, like if you're reading an ingredients list, and this applies to anything that is consumable by human or animal that you buy, like dog food and stuff, and cat food, it's going to have an ingredients list, right? Food that we buy, it has an ingredients list. And if you go to the grocery store, you see an apple. There's not going to be an ingredients list for the apple because it's an apple. Okay, so just keep that in mind. But for something like this, there's been a whole bunch of different ingredients put together. And the way they do it is for every single thing, the bulk, the biggest thing that is in this consumable product is going to be in the very top. So for the enriched flour, wheat flour is the number one thing. That is what it makes up the absolute bulk of the crust. Okay, and the next is going to be some niacin, and then there's some ferrous sulfate. So for the absolute number one thing for the water tomato puree is going to be water. That's the number one thing that makes up the pizza sauce is water. Just like with apple juice. Let's go get it. You're going to see the ingredients. It's going to say water and apples. Because that's what makes up apple juice. Because, there's water already in the apples. If you just take an apple and you squeeze it, literally squeeze it, if you can not like with your hands or something, or juice it, or destroy it down to its particles or whatever, you're going to get juice, right? And that's going to be apple juice. That's going to be the purest absolute form of apple juice. But you know what the ingredients are? It's water and apple. Like literally, it's water molecules and apple molecules. So whatever's at the top of the list, that is the most. That is what is the most prominent thing in these, and everything else is secondary. There's no level as far as it's descending. So there's going to be more niacin than there is ferrous sulfite, and there's more ferrous sulfite than there is thiamine mononitrate. But the amounts compared to the very first thing could be astronomically different. There could be a very tiny amount of niacin and a very tiny amount of ferrous sulfate, or massive amounts. But the point is, the very first thing is what there's a whole bunch of. Okay. So with water tomato puree, it's just water, and then tomato paste. It's just basically a tomato that just got beat down to paste. Fair enough. Okay, the next thing is one of the first air quotation marks cheeses. Imitation mozzarella cheese. That is water, which is good. Palm oil, oily. Rennet casein. Now, like I said, I don't know what most of this stuff. I know what water is. Okay, I'm fairly versed in what water is. Rennet casein, I have very little knowledge or education on. It's RENNET CASEIN. That is how it is spelled. I can't really make a whole. I'm not by looking at the word. Do I seem worried? But it doesn't really worry me. It seems like it's probably benign, but of course I don't know. So somebody totally freaked me out, tell me it's like nuclear waste or something. That would be so awesome. But be truthful. I mean, I don't really want to know that rennet casein is nuclear waste. I'm just saying, if you're going to say something like that, just be honest. Soybean oil. I'm fairly certain I know what that is. It's the oil of soybeans. This one's good. Cellulose powder. If you don't know that cellulose is essentially paper. It's basically any wood product, plant product that's been pulped down. It's just been basically they pretended it was a tomato that they tried to turn into paste, but instead it got turned into cellulose, which is basically pulp. And that is this cardboard that the nutrition facts thing. The number one ingredient, I guarantee you, is going to be cellulose something. It's cellulose. It's paper. It's wood products, plant products, which it's fine. You can consume it. It's not going to hurt you per se, but it doesn't really do a whole lot for you. But yeah. So it's paper. It's cellulose powder. It's papered powder. Powdered paper. Potato starch. They don't want the actual potato. They just want the starch. This one's good. Vital wheat gluten. So this wheat gluten is vital to something. I don't know if it's vital to the cheese, to the imitation mozzarella cheese, or if it's vital that we consume it, or it's vital for world peace. I don't know what it's vital for, or I'm just supposed to assume this, but it's vital wheat gluten is what that is. And I don't know. And then next we got sodium aluminum phosphate. So to me, I would think that would be some sort of metallic salt that could catch on fire, maybe. I don't know. Sodium aluminum phosphate. Potassium chloride. Sounds like bleachy kind of things. I don't know. That's what I would assume. I don't know. I'm not a chemist. If anybody knows what these things actually are, what they do, by all means, put them in the comments. That would be an excellent help for everyone. Salt. Citric acid, so something citrusy. Potassium sorbate. This one I like, actually. It sounds almost delicious. Potassium sorbet. Could you imagine? Have you ever? Yeah, that'd be good. Probably not. I don't know, but it's a preservative. So that's what it says right here on the box. Oh yeah, and by the way, by all means, please go get your Totinos 3 cheese party pizza, naturally flavored box, and read along with me. It'll be fun. Sodium phosphate, sodium citrate, titanium dioxide. That's artificial color. That's what that is. It's titanium dioxide. Titanium is a metal, if you didn't know. Titanium is a very strong metal. The dioxide part, I'm not going to get into the chemist aspect of it. I'm just reading this thing. I'm only going to tell you what I'm fairly certain about. I don't know what titanium dioxide is. I don't know what effect it has on you, if it has any effect, But it does say right here that it says it's artificial color. So when you also have maltodextrin, magnesium oxide, zinc oxide. Have you ever seen anybody with that stuff on their nose, like at the beach? Yeah, it's zinc oxide. It's a sunblock. You can use it as sunblock. Riboflavin again. Someone's got to tell me what that is, because we all eat a lot of it, apparently. I see that a lot. Vitamin A palmitate, vitamin B12. Okay, so all of that was the imitation mozzarella cheese. I'm only going to do the imitation. I'm only going to do that one time. So that would be annoying if I did it every single time, I think. Okay, but here we go, because here's the next one. And this one's going to be fun. It's going to be super easy. I'm going to tell you why. Canola oil, imitation Monterey Jack cheese. This contains water, palm oil, rennet casein again, modified potato starch. So it's not just potato starch, it's been modified. Modified potato starch. Modified cornstarch. We didn't have cornstarch in the other stuff. So now this has got some modified cornstarch. Like they're modifying potatoes, or is it modified potatoes starch, or is it the starch of the potatoes that have somehow been modified? I don't know. How is this an ingredient, though? This is natural flavor. How is that an ingredient? And why is it not in anything else? It's just in it's in something else too, but for everything we've read so far, it's in the natural flavor. Natural flavor is not an ingredient. Why is it in here? It's like this. Maybe what they're trying to tell us is this is what it should naturally taste like, perhaps. Sodium citrate, salt, lactic acid. Now, if you know anything, if you know anything about physical fitness, or if you've exercised any great amount of time, you'll know that when you exert yourself a lot, your muscles start to burn. Like if you're running a really long time, your legs will start to burn, your arms will start to burn. You're doing push-ups, sit-ups, stuff like that. Your arms will start, your muscles start to burn. It gets to a point where you can no longer do that activity that you're willing it to do. You get to muscle failure. So all this lactic acid, that is what is giving you that burning sensation. That's what lactic acid is. Lactic acid is literally the waste byproduct of muscles exerting themselves, like very, very quickly, and doing some quick reaction kind of things. Like I say, if you run, if you do a lot of push-ups, you lift weights, you'll know what I'm talking about. And you already know that that's what does it. That lactic acid is a cause of that. And apparently it's also an ingredient for canola oil, imitation Monterey Jack cheese. So it does have other uses. So, non-fat dry milk. I'm going to assume that's like powdered milk, which my daughter would call booty milk. We tried to give her powdered milk when she was like 3 years old. She spit it out like it was poison. I don't blame her. It's nasty. And then she just called it booty. That's booty milk. That's booty milk. And then, she was upset. I'm guessing because she thought it had to be like milk that came out of somebody's booty. And I agree. So, and then there's potassium chloride, sodium phosphate, citric acid, color added. Another weird ingredient, color added. That's an ingredient in here, folks. It says color added. I guess they figure if you can see the color, then they don't need to explain to you what they did. Now, the reason I said it was going to be easy, because this pizza should actually be called, should literally be called the Totinos 2 imitation cheese pizza Naturally flavored. I guess technically they can put it in there because they did put it in the ingredients. They did put natural flavor in the ingredients. Because the imitation cheddar cheese is the exact same as the canola oil imitation Monterey Jack cheese. Like, literally, there is no deviation. There might be a deviation in the amounts of different things, but there is no deviation. As far as, like, the amounts relative to each other, because they're in the same exact order, that hasn't changed. But, I mean, there could be some deviation in the amount of certain other things, but they are the exact same ingredients. So you're getting essentially the same product. You're getting one cheese for the price of two with that one. And then you get the imitation mozzarella cheese, which is the bulk of it, which has a large amount of ingredients to it. Okay, so we're almost done. And now I really hope that the gain is not too high. It probably is. I don't know. I'm just gonna trust it. Maybe it'll do good this time. So the final thing here is that thing that I was telling you about. That's I'll just go ahead and contains less than 2% of. So that is basically what this is saying is there's less than 2% of what I'm about to tell you in here, and I'm just going to read through it and let you process it. There is less than 2% of rehydrated, pasteurized, processed, non-fat mozzarella cheese. Water, non-fat milk, cheese cultures, salt, enzymes, citric acid, vitamin A palmitate, vitamin B6, sodium, aluminum phosphate, sodium citrate, sodium phosphate, sugar, modified cornstarch, salt, dry yeast, defatted soy flour, Monterey Jack cheese, cultured, pasteurized, part skim milk, salt enzymes, cheddar cheese, cultured, pasteurized, part skim milk, salt enzymes, dextrose, spice, monocalcium, phosphate, baking soda, beet powder. The powder of a beet. A delicious, delicious beet. The powder of that beet powder. Rehydrated enzyme modified cheese. Water, milk, cheese cultures, salt, enzymes, citric acid, malic acid, xanthan gum, sorbitane monosterate, TBHQ. Just big 4 capital letters. Don't know what it is. Other than apparently it's a preservative. Absorbic acid. And finally, natural flavor. That means there is less than 2% of natural flavor in the Totinos 2-cheese imitation pizza. What is also less than 2%? 0%. Contains weak milk and soy ingredient. Weak. It contains weak. It contains wheat, milk, and soy ingredients. Because apparently these kill people, which is weird. You realize that? They have to let you know that there is a potential source of your doom in this product if you so choose to consume it. Distributed by General Mills Sales Incorporated, Minneapolis, Minnesota, 55440, USA. General Mills, 3975048116. May be manufactured under U.S. patent numbers 7,807,207 and 7,815,957 and patent pending. So I guess they have a patent on this particular combination of ingredients. So, there we go. That was Christopher Reed's The Nutrition Facts for the Totinos 3-cheese, naturally flavored party pizza. And remember, kids, you are future prehistoric animals. Thanks for listening to Christopher Reed's Nutrition Facts.